Hello, I'm Mike Gordon, and welcome back to my perfect playthrough of Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn. And last time we had completed Knuckles' campaign through Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And with all that showed off, it's now time to begin Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just lock on Sonic 2, and unlike Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Knuckles in Sonic 2 also has a time attack and special stage modes. And yes, they have their own time. They have their own time for us to beat, so we have to play this game twice. Since I played OG Sonic 2 on easy, I'm gonna play Knuckles in Sonic 2 on the normal difficulty setting. Consider this a test to see if it'd be worth my time combining these two episodes in one next time. And there's the logo. I gotta try a gun for the record, or a record. I'm basically following speedrun strats. And I maintain that speed all throughout to a 20-second time. I think the record is 18 seconds for this stage, but it does mean I will have to make up for It does mean, however, that I will need to gain my 50 rings in special stage elsewhere. Luckily, we should be able to get 50 rings quite easily in this stage. Just a quick drop down, and there we go. We made up for our lack of special stage in Act 1 with a special stage in Act 2. Not a huge time waste at all. In fact, Knuckles can actually stop on a dime thanks to Short Glide. Thanks to his short gliding. Actually, I think that's a better term to describe these speed strats with Knuckles. It's called short gliding. Or another way to look at it is short dropping. Immediately after you get out of the glide, you make a quick. Immediately after you jump, you press jump again to go into instant glide. You let go immediately, and then he just drops back down, comes to a complete standstill. He's already crouching down, so I can build up a speed dash immediately after. Just need this final batch. And that's it. Because Knuckles is by himself, I will have to exceed the 100 ring count no matter what. Alright, let's stay right by this tree. Ooh, barely avoided that drill. Got this done super quick. 42 seconds and change. And that's what the special stage. I could probably get this done a little faster if I did not do the special stage, but I digress. That's how I come to a dead stop and prepare a spin dash right here. I do a short glide to land right on top of the booster. I do a couple of short hops because for whatever reason that platform was glitchy. And yeah, this is some pretty insane tech. Are you sure I have to? I absolutely have to speedrun this game again next time. I seem to be doing fine for myself, all things considered. I got the upper route. That's gonna be a little faster than the lower route, so that's great. Perfect. So there's definitely some collision detection, and I'm not curling up into a ball here because I want to be, because for whatever reason, Chemical Plant, especially where Knuckles is concerned, has quite a few collision issues. Especially if I'm going fast a lot. It's almost like the game can't handle the sheer speed Knuckles can travel in. Are you sure how to get up here? I need to do an early leap of faith just to hit this boss and get him down before the first cycle's even finished. Sonic could wait for him, just Sonic because they can reach him, but Knuckles can't. I have to be there present to make that jump. And this is another act I typically try to collect the Chaos Emeralds in. It does require farming for rings in order to get this done. I wish there was a faster way of doing this. There is technically a couple backup strats, but that involves you not taking any damage whatsoever in Metropolis 1, 2, or 3. It's also flat out impossible to achieve in Wing Fortress Zone because you'll have to take damage. Because it is the one level in the entire game where damage is mandatory. Where damage is otherwise mandatory in a speed run. So really what I'm doing with these first two sections is collect as much rings as I can. And then once we get to the third section, I try to keep as close to exact to even as possible. It does seem like Knuckles' normal difficulty is based on Sonic and Tails' easy setting. Which makes sense because Knuckles already can collect these at a discount. It's easy to believe that Sonic and Tails in OG Sonic 2 on normal difficulty would have Knuckles prerequisites. Exactly 130, so I didn't need to gather any more rings. I did a short glide so I could... By the way, sometimes if I do a short glide shortly after an edge, it's also because Knuckles is in motion. I try to get him to come to a standstill. I didn't get a sub 30 there, though I probably could have if I didn't stop for the Chaos Emerald. And of course, Act 2 is super fast when you know the route during the underwater section. It's kind of funny that Sonic 2 is the only Sonic game from the the entire Sega Genesis trilogy where you don't ever have to go into where you can completely avoid the water. But if you know what you're doing, the water sections of Sonic 2 can be a lot of fun. Another continue because I got managed to land sub 45. Oh, the collision detection will also impact my ability to speed through entire sections with Knuckles with the shore hopping. Because for whatever reason, Sonic 2, Knuckles' attempt to shore hop on like an angle or like a slope or something will cause it to go to an immediate standstill before physics finally kicks in. That's a bit slow. So good to know next time not to abuse short hops on slopes. Slopes or curves, I should say. Flat surfaces, that's A-okay. Alright. And of course, I will be doing a special stage here because I land right on top of it. Alright, this section is pretty straightforward. I should have just about every single ring in this section, I would say. Now I just have to stay in the middle for this section. Honestly, this section is super straightforward. Yeah, I'm gonna say Knuckles has the easiest time out of everyone with these special stages in Sonic 2. And that's... If you ever play Sonic Origins Plus, Knuckles' special stage ring count is lined up with all the other solo campaigns. I already have just one ring more than I needed, but I'm not gonna try to manip for an exact amount. Alright, this boss is a little tricky to juggle on top of, so I'm just gonna make use of Knuckles' unique gifts of gliding and climbing up walls in order to take him out quickly. This is by no means the fastest route to this boss, but it's easy with Knuckles. With Sonic or Tails, this is one of the hardest bosses in the game. I would say 4th hardest boss. This section is kind of scary to speedrun because I have absolutely no rings for a good chunk of it. I need to make up 50 rings somehow. Luckily, we got 23 rings right here. Skip over this section. Watch the spikes, thank God. I have to wait till this thing goes up before I can continue on. And because I basically can't just stop right by this, this checkpoint is always instrumental to, is always an instrumental one to get if you want the special, if you want a free Chaos Emerald. Because you basically come to a dead stop. In fact, this will happen again in Act 2, at the end of Act 2. These are two of the only checkpoints. This is the only stage in the game where we will be nabbing 2 Chaos Emeralds instead of 1. And with Knuckles, it's generally easy to go for. Alright, I guess I'll be dodging rings at this section. Maybe I'll consider subtracting some here and there. Alright, I already did subtracted a bit. Alright, so a slightly lower amount. I'm not gonna attempt Fate again though. Another Chaos Emerald is mine. I believe this is the only entry in the Sonic franchise to feature the pink Chaos Emerald. As all the other games after this just features a blue Chaos Emerald to go along with the cyan or light blue emerald. By the way, you have to initiate a jump in order to perform a shore hop. Jumping off like an object that you're holding onto or going off a slope will not work. I got my 50. Don't really need to get all of these, I just have to... This is the reason why this emerald is very easy to get. This is not one I would typically recommend getting if you're playing as Sonic or Tails. Just Knuckles. And the reason for this is because Knuckles in Sonic 2 still takes memory from Sonic and Knuckles, where the checkpoints when you leave a bonus round actually still keeps track of how many rings you've got. And the checkpoints in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles are identical to one another, so... And as such, Knuckles in Sonic 2 just keeps track of the in-game memory on how many rings you have when you exit a special stage. And because that's not supposed to happen in Sonic 2, it also keeps track of them at the point you enter the special stage, even if you died, that's not gonna happen this playthrough at all. I have exactly out of 10 rings. If I still needed more, I would make adjustments here, but don't need to. And because Knuckles also has a glide mechanic to help him get out of dodge, Knuckles has... This boss fight is completely zero risk for Knuckles. Whereas in the original version with Sonic and/or Tails, it could result in instant game over if you don't do it right. And that's it for Hilltop Zone. You have 5 emeralds through 5 stages. Oh, that's perfect landing. Yeah, I had 50 rings. I probably would have used that checkpoint to try to get a Chaos Emerald as well, but I didn't, so I kept moving on. Up 45, which gives us a time bonus of 10,000 points. If it was 45 seconds to 59 seconds, it would be a 5,000 point bonus. Which still would have given us a continue, but still. Now, sadly, Knuckles cannot go to take the upper route at all, so I have to take the lower route here. Jump over this Firefly. Now, sadly, this switch is like super low, so I'm gonna grab it quickly enough. And this is unfortunate. I got stuck underneath him just as he began his glowing animation, and don't want to damage the nip if I don't have to. Okay, so in hindsight, I could probably have I could have damage abused past him, but oh well. Because you don't get to keep your shields when you enter and exit a special stage. By the way, by this point you should definitely have 50 rings, and if you do, this is a free Chaos Emerald. Now, ideally, Knuckles has access to Super Knuckles before taking on the Stage 7 boss. But there is a backup in case you are still short an emerald by that point in time, and you have a couple more opportunities at getting a Chaos Emerald in Metropolis. Actually, you have I believe you have 3 or 4 opportunities at a Chaos Emerald in Metropolis. Stink it. Take this hit. Then I have to get out of the way so I don't hit those things. I have the 150 rings exactly. If I was playing this on the original difficulty setting, the prerequisites would be 170 rings. Is it 170 rings? Yeah, it's 170 rings. So Knuckles is still fairly gimped with the stage, which is why this Eggman boss started moving. I think it's called the Egg Drill Mark II. The Egg Drill Mark 1 was the Stage 1 boss, and the Egg Drill Mark 3 you have ran into in Sonic 3. I'm gonna climb this wall. It's a little faster than going the other side, taking another left, and then going the other side again. And luckily I got 50 rings exactly, but does mean I won't be able to glide anymore without triggering Super Knuckles. Yeah, if you miss getting the 50 rings in this special stage, there are still some backups for Oil Ocean 2 that will help you deal with the boss there. And there are some backups in Metropolis, all throughout Metropolis. However, in a lot of ways, Metropolis becomes a lot harder when played on the without the 7 Chaos Emeralds and access to Super Transformations. Now the ring count is going to be on the lower side here. We'll see how low it gets. Ooh, I'm over by 30 rings. Damn, I got... I'll just take damage a couple more times. I'll try to jump over all these other rings because we don't need any more. Oh. Knuckles has all the Chaos Emeralds. Now Knuckles can change into Super Knuckles, and we resume where we left off at the Oil Ocean. I want to take the upper route, it's faster. I had to go the opposite direction where I was moving for a bit. Just because I didn't want to over jump. And watch this, they're gonna skip straight to the end. Head left, and that's that. Because when you hold left up on the ceiling, the game thinks you came from the left-hand direction and attempts to just push you out. And it sends you flying to the end. The reason being is because for whatever reason those obstacles on top of the screen don't have collision detection up top. Because you are never supposed to be up there in the first place. I have to... I almost have 50 rings. There really aren't any freebies from here on out. So I need to get at least one ring here. Alright, I got 2, so that'll... Ain't too bad. Turn super, and I'm gonna try short hop this boss, especially when he's descending, so I can quickly dispose of him before he fully submerges. Sonic has a much harder time with this boss because Sonic cannot short hop, but Knuckles can. So now it's time for the final true level of the game. And the final level in the game to feature Axe. Here. I need to kill him. I chose not a short hop because I wanted to take advantage of the slope physics. And short hopping forces you to come to a standstill. I'll reach this part up top because there's like a secret passage to a checkpoint past that point. That's why I spin dashed up the corkscrew first. Still make good time. And also, because this still borrows data from Sonic and Knuckles in order to incorporate Knuckles' data, it also means that jumping and gliding at the end credits does not result in you freezing in place and potentially soft locking yourself. I pressed jump at that final spring so I could get past that. I'm moving far too fast to spell out what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a 40-minute run, that's what I'm doing. So I got started at about a minute in my video, so there you go. Unfortunately, I will have to turn super here because there's no way for Knuckles to get up there other than by gliding. You can't even reach the platform that comes up if you hit the switch. Still get an extra life, but at least we won't be getting a continue out of this as well. Short hop down there. I'll get up there. I was a little too fast, so now I have to wait for this thing to get back up. I hope I get 50 rings before the boss because I've been skipping over a ton of them. Boss is a pain in the ass without Super Knuckles. I jumped off that spring so I could make it up here and dodge the Praying Mantis. Once I sense I'm slowing down, I will hop off the corkscrew, fly up the wall, and then hop back on, and then spin dash again, because this might be a little bit faster than just running. But I'm not convinced it is. Drop so I don't fall to my death, and then I need to do this. And there we go. Just enough rings to turn into Super Knuckles. And sadly, Super Knuckles is still every bit as hobbled by his inability to jump high as his OG counterpart. What Super Knuckles does do, however, is allow Knuckles to glide a little faster. And that's it for Metropolis Zone. And since we are now at the end game, I'm just, and this stage is literally on autopilot, I'm just gonna go ahead and farm for some extra lives. Alright, this took a little bit of a while to try to get down. Barely got that one, but... And that's our first extra life, and the rest should come super quickly now. And this is literally just a music related bug where the game where the sound version of these Sonic games will just reset the music right away every time you force like a tune or a jingle change. The only way to get to these turtles on the bottom row right there, those bottom two turtles, is literally to speed dash so fast that you fall off the B-plane. But if you do that, you won't be able to get back on it, and you will eventually fall to your death. Oh, there we go. 20 lives, and this will be my final live count for the run. On the other side, get myself some leg room for this section. I'm super here, so I could glide all the way over here. I tell you, Super Knuckles glides a little faster. That's his big power-up. He doesn't jump a little higher. Just glides a little faster. He also is comparably as fast as regular Sonic and Tails now. Let's see if we can one-cycle this boss. Again, because Knuckles is gimped in height and jump high, he won't be able to reach the boss, that laser beam boss, on his own. Not even as Super Knuckles. He needs those platforms to get up there. And I hope you enjoyed seeing Super Knuckles, well, he's still good because this is going to be the last time you will ever see of him. From this moment forward, it is just Knuckles and Knuckles alone. Luckily, this is normal difficulty, not original, which means the game literally provides you with a few rings to collect before Silver Sonic and the Death Egg Robot. Not as much as easy mode, but still enough for you to survive both encounters. Honestly, I think Knuckles benefits the most from this because the Death Egg Robot is freakishly hard with Knuckles. Not quite sure what's going on with the glitched out graphics now. They all take on the appearance of the little critters that we free, but I don't know why. I'm not gonna be able to one-cycle this boss, but I can two-cycle it. That was 8 hits. So, with a bit of daring, I can definitely two-cycle this. Don't even need the ring. And all the little piggies start chasing after me as the Death Egg explodes. From outer space! Geez, Tails, you gotta get your rear in gear if you want to rescue, your friend? I guess Knuckles and Tails become amicable enough over time, but yeah, this cutscene was definitely intended for Sonic. Interestingly enough, in Sonic Origins Plus, the developers took note of this, so scrubbed this ending from Knuckles' campaign. All you have is the image of Knuckles falling until I think Tails I'm pretty sure Tails catches him on the B-plane. And that's the photo finish. Knuckles and Sonic 2. Yeah, they made that. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, you put even just a single ring in Death Egg, it makes that stage in the final 2 bosses way, way easier. Now, to be fair, Silver Sonic was always pretty easy once you figure out the trick and the timing and whatnot. But the Death Egg Robot was plenty hard for Sonic and Tails on their own without any rings. But Knuckles, you expect to die with Knuckles a lot in a normal playthrough through original mode. It's just fine because that's the mode that you have access to this day. It's always been made available. Normal and easy mode has never come back into the Sonic franchise. Those modes remain locked behind Sonic Jam to this very day. And both offer up rings during the final boss fights. So what else is there? Oh yeah, we need I think the only thing left for us to do before we take on the big elephant in the room that I've been avoiding. Blue sphere. Sorry, I think I said something about blue spheres or something. But yes, Knuckles and Sonic 2, unlike Sonic 3 and Knuckles, does have extra games for us to cover, including, of course, Time Attack in Special Stage Mode. And given how quickly I was able to get through this game on normal difficulty, and TIE Attack is based on the stage's normal settings, I think I definitely know that next time on my perfect playthrough of Sonic Jam, I will be taking on all the extra modes in one fell swoop. Leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. With all the way, this is Mike Gordon, sign out.